All right, good morning, everyone. This is our weekly Monday outlook. All right. So what we do here is to analyze the markets and try to find the direction of the market for the week, so we can trade in the direction the market is going. So yeah, so we usually start with economic calendar here. Start with this because we want to know what news events are likely to move the market this week, right? And so let's look. Currently, we're seeing some sort of, the week is beginning in a slow way. We expect to see some more volatility as we get into the week because we have some important data this week. We have US CPI, we have unemployment claims, we have interest rate data for Australia, we have retail sales, we have consumer sentiment. All of these are very important. So we are going to be looking into all of these. Right. So we see on Monday today, we don't really have any event. Then for tomorrow, we have interest rate data for Australia, and that is expected to reduce. Interest rate is expected to reduce from 3.85% to 3.6. And then also tomorrow, Tuesday, we're expecting to see CPI data. CPI data for the US, this is expected to be significant. This is actually the data we expect to move the market tomorrow. CPI, which is inflation, is always a data point that's very highly watched, by market participants. Last month was 2.7%, whereas the forecast is 2.8% this week, for this month, basically. So we're expecting to see that a little bit of increase in inflation there, so that is something to watch. Right now, we see that the market sentiment is shifting towards an interest rate reduction, interest rate cut at the next FOMC meeting, which is September. So the market, the Fed, everybody is watching this CPI data very keenly, because the Fed always tells us that they use incoming data to determine whether to keep rates high or to reduce them, right? So if this inflation number comes in really hot tomorrow, then we are expecting, then we will start to have mixed signals. So what is the Fed going to do? Is the Fed going to reduce interest rates in September? Are they going to keep it steady the way it is? What exactly is going to happen? That will have speculations with respect to that. Now we see that from the last NFP data, we see that employment is really weak in the US right now. Employment is really weak. The number of new jobs have declined over the past 3 months. So all of that, coupled with high inflation, will be something to watch as to how the Fed will react to that, right? So of course, we're going to watch this over for the past few months. The tariff wars that the president of the United States have put on the whole world has not really affected the US consumer significantly. We've not seen a huge increase in inflation yet, but we don't know. This might be the time where the data starts to show that inflation is returning back to the market. And remember, the Fed has two mandates. The Fed has two mandates. The first mandate is to keep prices low, which is to stabilize inflation and keep it 2% or under. And the next one is to make sure there's maximum employment. So if inflation is still high, the Fed is going to wait. Which is more important? Which metric, which mandate is more important to tackle at the moment? Is it the inflation mandate, right? The cost stability mandate, or the employment, or the full employment mandate? Which one is the Fed going to pursue, right? So that is something we're going to be watching very keenly, and that's why I expect this CPI data for this week to be very, very, very impactful, to hit the market with a lot of impact, right? So that's going to be tomorrow afternoon. On Wednesday, we don't have much there. On Thursday, we have a couple of other data too. We have employment data from Australia. We have GDP data for the UK. And then we also have PPI data for the US. PPI data for the US. We have unemployment claims for the US as well. Okay. unemployment claims for the US as well. Then on Friday, we have core retail sales data for the US, and also we have preliminary UOM consumer sentiment. Now, consumer sentiment is an important data because it measures how well the US consumer is faring. The American consumer is very strong. It's a consumer that can spend a lot. The US economy of almost $30 trillion is 70% powered by the US consumer, which means that the US consumer are spenders. Now, if their sentiment is strong, they have good, the sentiment towards the economy and towards their own finance is strong, they continue to spend. And when the US consumer spends, businesses benefit from that spend. But for any reason, the US consumer starts to pull back, it affects businesses, affects the economy, it affects everything, right? So that's the reason why on Friday we'll be waiting for this consumer sentiment data. Last month was 61.7. This month is expected to be 61.9, which means we're expecting a little bit of an increase in sentiment there, which is a good thing. If that actually happens, then that's actually a good thing for the US economy, right? So this is what what our focus will be for the across board for the fundamental side of things today, all right? And then let's go to the technical. Now let's see what is it that's moving the market already or is about to move the market, and what direction are we looking to go to, right? The first thing here is we start by always looking at the dollar index. So if we look at dollar index from a larger time frame, look at the dollar index from a larger time frame, we can see that US dollar index has been in a significant downward trend. And if you look at this is somewhere around February. So this was around when Trump was sworn in. And you can see what has happened to the dollar index since Trump came into power. It's been really a bloodbath. It's been disastrous for the dollar index, right? So now, and of course, when you look at current currencies like Euro USD, you will see the opposite trends. You see that the Euro USD has just been going one way and continues to move in that direction, very strongly bullish. So the dollar index is very strongly weak, bearish, and still remains bearish. Nothing is telling us yet that the dollar index is going to change direction. You know, if anything, based on sentiments right now around rate cut, interest rate cut, and all that, dollar index is even likely to sell further, right? There's no respite as it were for the US dollar at this time. So now let's look at what exactly are we now seeing playing out in the market. Last week we see that when NFP came out, price just began to collapse, just began to sell. Very heavy sell we saw because the NFP numbers, the non-farm payroll numbers were very low. Employment is having issues in the US, so we just saw a huge decline there in the dollar index. You know, and that was 2 weeks ago. Last week the trajectory continued to sell, and mainly because of the sentiment around rate cuts, interest rate cuts in September. So that has been driving the dollar index down. But then, of course, we know that markets make impulse and corrections. Today now, it's not like we have any major data pushing the dollar up, but we can see that the dollar index is expected to rally. It's expected to push up a bit. And why is that? Because we expect it to, according to the way technical analysis works, we should see some kind of a snapback, which is called a pullback. So this pullback is what we anticipate, and we expect that price is likely going to do this. Price is likely going to do this, go all the way up there, and then before we see price come down again. So this push up, this pullback rally is what we're expecting to happen now with the dollar index, right? So, but how does that play? How do we play that right now? The way we're going to play that is we're going to, first of all, expect to see a breakout of this level for the dollar index. We should see a breakout of this level for the dollar index. The dollar index breaks out of this level, we should see price rally to the upside there, and then we'll be able to, take advantage of this move up here. This is quite an interesting move, a significant bullish move right here, right? So let's see how that's playing out with the Euro USD. Euro USD has this relationship with the dollar index that's almost perfectly opposite, right? So how is that working? How is that playing out? We can see the Euro USD is making that sell off, and we're expecting Euro USD to sell into this zone right here. So we can see this huge impulse that happened the other day after NFP came out. Now we see that Euro USD continued to buy last week. Now we're expecting to pull back, sell, pull back into this zone. And then before we see price rally up again, because the overall outlook on Euro USD remains very bullish. The overall outlook on Euro USD remains very bullish. So let's check now and see, do we have any potential trades that we can take here? So far, there is none. Let's see what we are playing with here. Okay. All right, so we can see that price is breaking out of this trend line. This is quite a good trend line right here. We can see that price just broke out of this trend line now. Very likely we're going to see price coming all the way down to this level. So where are we likely to enter for a buy trade? What area will we see a buy trade at? For me, I would be expecting for price to push back into this area here. I'll be expecting for price to push back into this area here before I on my buy trade. Okay. So I'll be expecting price to push back into this zone here. Very likely it will come down first. Maybe comes down like this, and then it pushes back into this zone. I want to see price push back in here, and then we will see a sell. Should be able to see a sell from there. And this is, for me, this is more like to confirm the breakout. I need to see price push down and then turn up here. Once it turns up to this level, I should be entering a sell, a trade for a sell right here, right? That's, for me, is what I will be more comfortable doing. And I like the fact that it's actually breaking out right now. So quite a good move right there. But I expect price to bump back into this support, into this resistance level here, this supply zone, and then before we see a sell on the Euro USD. So Euro USD is quite bearish right now, mainly because we are seeing a bullish move in the dollar index. So we expect that to play out. This is just the beginning of the week, so we will be patient. One of the virtues of every good trader is patience. So it's always very important to wait for price to do what it will do before you make your move, right? So for now, what we'll be seeing here would be something in this direction, something like this, something like this, something like this. It's very likely what we might be seeing playing out on the dollar, on the Euro USD, all right? Very likely what we might see play out on the Euro USD. So an eye on that. Then let's go to gold. What do we have on gold? Gold has been really stuck in a range. I was looking at this earlier, and this move had not started. This massive sell here had not started, and had anticipated that. I was talking to some people earlier this morning, and I said I'm seeing a sell in gold, right? I'm expecting gold to sell to somewhere around this level here. You know, so last week we had Trump putting tariffs on Switzerland, and Switzerland is a major exporter of gold. They export a lot of gold to the United States. Because of that, we've been seeing choppy movements on gold. You know, a lot of volatility, but choppy movements on gold. So for me, I'm expecting price to bump into this zone right here before a buy would be appropriate in my mind. So I will expect price to hit this level here before we see a buy right there. So I should be expecting price to hit this level, break below here, come here. So I already anticipated with this huge, massive bearish engulfing here, I already expected that price was going to sell. But I expect once it gets here, it should be able to give us a bullish signal. A bullish signal is what I will bank on to get on a trade from around here. So my target is to wait for gold to get into this zone, and then we'll make a buy from this zone all the way back up right there, right? So this is the outlook for gold this morning. Let's see, what do we have for, do we have anything for USD JPY? So we did this analysis on USD JPY last week, and we're still expecting some sort of a push into this zone right here, all right? Usually when you have an impulse, you have a correction into the retracement zone, also known as the fair value area, right? Fair value gap. Then once this gap is closed, price is going to come back down because the movement is very bearish, very, very bearish. You can see the bearish move here. So we expect to close this gap and then price come back to the downside. So for that reason, we're expecting some sort of a buy in USD JPY. And if this follows the direction of the dollar index that we're already looking at, dollar index is already pushing up. And then USD JPY tends to correlate to the dollar index sometimes, right? Especially when USD JPY is already going in the same direction. When that is already happening, you see that price starts to move in tandem for USD JPY and the dollar index. So for me, I will be expecting to see price. I'm expecting to see price break out of this level here all the way to the top, and then we might be able to get a trade opportunity here towards the upside. For USD JPY, most of the time I don't like trading retracements, but sometimes it can be very good as well. It can be very profitable trading retracements. But for me, I always prefer to avoid the retracement many times. I will actually prefer price bumps into this level, this area here, and then it sells. And then I get on this sell here rather than getting on the buy, But then sometimes, like I said, there are times where good opportunities also come from that retracement move, right? And the retracement move is what we're waiting for here. Once price breaks out of this level, we should be able to catch a retracement move right there. Should be able to catch a retracement move for a buy into this fair value area, the 149 level, and then we should see a sell from there, right? So all of this is what we're expecting to happen within this week. Okay. Let's see. Do we have anything for crude oil? Crude oil. What do we have? Crude oil, I'm actually expecting to see crude oil back to $65 level. And the $65 level is somewhere here. Somewhere here. Expecting price to go back to the $65 level. Now, for a lot of fundamental reasons, the oil has been really selling. OPEC Plus is trying to, reclaim their market share by increasing supply, right? And whenever supply increases, it depresses price. Price will come down. So OPEC just announced that there's going to be an increase in supply by over 500,000 barrels by next month. So with that now, the market is already pricing in that oversupply. And with China, the largest importer of crude oil, reducing their supply, reducing their imports, all of that is putting price pressure on oil across the world. Price pressure on oil, right? So for me, I'm expecting the trajectory of a sell to continue probably all the way to the $60 level. But like we said, price doesn't just go in one direction at once. It makes an impulse, it makes a correction, impulse, correction. It continues to impulse correct like that. So I am personally expecting crude oil price now to rally to this level. By what time we'll be able to sell. For now, I do not really see this buy opportunity here, where price is meant to rally here. I will be a bit skeptical to take it, right? I'll be a bit skeptical to take it. I would prefer that price gets to this zone here, and then I can now get on the trade. So I expect that price gets to this point, rallies to that top, then I'll be able to get on a trade. But for now, I will not be taking the risk of getting into this trade yet, even for the buy. But I expect the buy to happen though. But the sell, remember, the sell is a major move right here. And that's what I am personally anticipating. So because I'm expecting market to sell, as much as I expect it to pull back, I will avoid the pullback. I will wait for the pullback to happen, then I'll get on the sell. So yeah, what else do we have? And guys, like we said before, we have a Telegram group. If you're not on the Telegram group, please join the link, join using the link, join the Telegram group. And then because we give updates there on a daily basis, we give you trade ideas, trade signals, buy here, sell here, use this take profit, use this stop loss, and all of that. We do that on the Telegram group and we do it on a daily basis. So we expect that you join the Telegram group, and even all these trades I'm currently analyzing, we're going to give you updates on them in the Telegram group, right? And even other trades that I have not analyzed here now, we're going to give you entry prices, stop loss levels, take profit levels, all of that we're going to be giving you on the Telegram group, right? So that's very important. So Bitcoin has been rallying very heavily as well, but at this time, I would expect to see, I would expect to see price still go up a bit. It's the all-time high before pulling back, right? Hit all-time highs here before pulling back, maybe to somewhere around this level here. To somewhere around this level here, that should be where price is likely to get. So maybe price bump comes to this level and buys. But for now, for me, it's not that clear at this moment. So I'll just keep it for now. Keep it on my radar. Just keep this on my radar and keep watch. But for now, currently, it's not clear. It's very strongly bullish. The question is, where do you get on that buy? That's the question. That's what we're trying to look for. How exactly we get on we can take advantage of the next leg of the buy. So we need to see a pullback for us to be able to get on a good trade, right? So that's what we're looking at. So this is not very clear. We're going to keep our eye on that. And then, guys, just to remind us, trading is risky. Always make sure you are risking no more than 1 to 3% of your capital on every trade, 2 to 3% of your capital on every trade, right? Do not risk more than what you are able to lose, because a trade is even though we've had good performances, good results previously. You can't guarantee results. You can always guarantee what's going to happen next, right? And there's risk in trading. Always make sure you are putting on a trade the amount of money that when you lose it, you still stay in the game, all right? So that's me giving out a disclaimer here that there's risk in trading. Make sure you only trade what you're willing to risk, okay? Or lose on every particular trade. Thank you very much, guys. Like I said, we'll be giving you further updates in the group, and see you guys on the next one.